Have you noticed how all the important concepts seem really vaguely defined? Like, ideas people build their whole lives around. Love, art, faith. And like, that's not a problem I'm gonna be able to solve with a couple of TikToks. Maybe even not necessarily a problem. But even if you're not gonna tell other people what they should think they mean, which you shouldn't, I find it useful to have a good idea of what you mean when you're using them for yourself. So I'm starting a series with my working definitions for these terms. And the first one is adulthood. Now, I'm not talking about the legal concept, the age of majority. Like, legally, there are certain state-defined criteria, and if you meet those criteria, you just are an adult. I'm talking about the idea people mean when they say grow up, be an adult, mature for your age, the idea that's present in the distinction between man or woman and girl or boy, the thing that's absent when you're being childish. Because to my mind, what adulthood means, as a character trait, is having accumulated so much unprocessed trauma that you're no longer capable of permitting yourself to try and have fun. Or to be maybe a little more specific, adulthood is a loss of the ability to be vulnerable. And this is a little off from the standard definition of adult. One of the things that got brought up when I was doing a live about this is the idea of responsibility. That adults are financially responsible, they keep their lives organized, that they don't depend on other people. And like, I wish I didn't have to point out how wildly paranoid the idea of never depending on other people is. Apocalypse prepper is pretty widely recognized as a kind of unhinged orientation to the world. But that's what not depending on other people looks like. What adults are more often doing is just refusing to acknowledge the labor of the people they depend on. Because not taking other people's labor for granted makes them feel vulnerable, and they never learned how to live with vulnerability. Or we talk about adults as contributing to society. But children do that too. Like, unless you never had chores as a kid, which I realize is an experience some people have had, being a contributing participant in the maintenance of a community is something that's expected of children, so it's not unique to adulthood. Like, not to be all Peter Pan about it, but Captain Hook was the big adult of that story, and his main personality trait was being traumatized by a crocodile. I've got a few more concepts in mind for this series, but what other big, important words do you think aren't really defined most of the time?